Now, Brexit takes up a lot of time at the UK Parliament, but not all of it. After a very long campaign, Parliament will vote today on a year-long trial of proxy voting, which would essentially allow MPs on parental leave to have their votes cast by another MP on their behalf, meaning they don't have to be physically in the chamber to have their voice heard. Now, calls for proxy voting got louder a few weeks ago when MP Tulip Siddiq delayed her caesarean section and was brought into the House of Commons in a wheelchair in order to be able to vote on Theresa May's Brexit deal. Now, joining me now for a little bit more on this story and to get her take is Sam Smethers. She's the head of Fawcett Society, which campaigns in London for women's representation in Parliament. Thanks for joining us here this morning. It's great to have you with us. This, of course, has been a long time coming. There were calls, of course, for it last year as well. And did it take the fact that Tulip Siddiq had to postpone her caesarean section in order for this to be put on the agenda?
Yes, I think the sight of Tulip Siddiq going through the lobbies in a wheelchair was really the final straw for a lot of parliamentarians and a lot of campaigners on this. We've been calling for this for some time. You know, it's been several years in the making, and we're really pleased that Parliament is finally now getting the chance to vote on something which, frankly, should have been in place a long time ago, and other parliaments deal with it all over the world already.
And there was a pairing, or there is in fact a pairing system in place for MPs on parental leave, a system that she obviously didn't trust in, and that's why she decided to come show up that day in the wheelchair. Can you just explain to us how it works and what actually the issue essentially is with it?
Well, the pairing system is a system run by the whips, essentially, and what that does is to say informally that if one member on one side of the House is going to be off on leave or is ill or whatever reason it might be, then they'll make sure that someone else on the other side, voting opposite to them, will also be absent for a particular vote. And that has worked in the past, but it broke down with Jo Swinson when she was on maternity leave, and Brandon Lewis, who was the Conservative Party chairman, famously voted, although she wasn't there to vote herself. And so I think MPs have lost faith in that system, particularly for issues of pregnancy and maternity. And I think the other important thing with this is that it shouldn't be a matter of somebody's informal gift to you as to whether you're entitled to leave if you're on maternity leave. You know, that isn't how it works in the workplace. You know, you've got a right to maternity leave, you've got a right to come back to your job after that maternity leave. I think most people accept that as normal. And yet in Parliament, we were running a system that was just dependent on whether someone was prepared to be kind enough to you to let you have some time off. So going to a formal system like this is really important. It sends a signal that our Parliament is finally kind of coming into the 21st century. We've still got a long way to go on that one, but it's really positive that this is happening. And it's got cross-party support. That's really important. It's a Conservative government, a Conservative leader of the House that's introduced it, and it's a Labour mother of the House, Harriet Harman, who's been lobbying very hard for it.
OK, as you say, you do have a right to maternity leave and you do have a right to go to your caesarean section and give birth to your child. Now, what happens next if this is approved, Sam? It's a year-long trial, I believe?
That's right. It's a year of trialling it out. There are a number of MPs who are about to go on maternity leave, about to have their babies. So we'll see quite soon, I think, whether it's working. And obviously, you mentioned that, you know, we've got a very difficult, sensitive political time in the UK at the moment with the Brexit vote. So it will really be tested in that sense. But it's important that this really does work and that we give it a good chance to operate and that we come back at the end of that year and put something in place permanently.